I ova sala, moram da priznam da mi je prošle godine ostavila onako jedan utisak kao šta da radimo drugačije više, jer ova sala ima 350 mesta i stvarno imati 350 ljudi, to sam jedino vidio kad je Mića vodio Bošo događaje, pa su svi došli, ali to je zašto su morali. Ove godine smo stvarno potrudili da ovde bude dobar line-up, da budu ljudi koji su praktično u poslu, koji imaju ono što se kaže ruke u blatu i mogu mnogo toga da podele. I u tom, da kažem, duhu, naš prvi govornik je baš neko ko kao svaki dan je u rovu i to od samog početka i to je nešto, kompanija koja, možemo slobodno kažemo, perjanica u mnogo čemu što se dešava u našem startup ekosistemu. Mislim da ste kroz različite medije verovatno dosta čuli o njima, ali ono što je meni najinteresantnije što sve se kod njih dešava brzo i sve uvek ide u dobrom smeru. I koliko će neko možda se seća količine novca koje su oni prikupili pre godinu i po dana ili dve, koliko je bilo. Meni recimo najinteresantnije koliko su oni otišli danas u formiranju tima za prodaju i koliko ozbiljno sagledavaju korisnike, njihove potrebe i šta raditi sa korisnikom i kako se internacionalizovati, pošto današnja jedna od glavnih tema će biti kako da skaliramo i kako da se internacionalizujemo, odnosno kako da nađemo strana tržišta. And without further ado, I give you Miljan Tekić.
Neprimetan prelaz sa srpskog na engleski, tako da good morning everybody and thank you for being here. Thank you especially to the people that didn't have their coffee yet. Okay. Before I jump into the slides, I just want to get a quick reading of the room. Could everybody that's currently working in a product that in a company that sells a product directly to customers raise their hands? Okay, not bad. And out of all of you, how many of you have had direct contact with your customers in the past 6 months? Okay, 75%, I'd say. That's not bad, and that's good. And in this presentation, you'll see why I'm asking this is we all know this statement behind me. We all know in order to succeed, we need to build a company that's customer-centric. And I mean, how could we not? We've read the same blog posts, we've listened to the same podcasts, we've seen the same quotes, and the things we see are like good old Stevie, he said, we should start with the customer experience and work backwards. Bezos said, we're not competitor obsessed, we're customer obsessed. And his goal was to be Earth's most customer-centric company. And, when we read this, it gives inspiration to us. It helps us form our thoughts. And, those are the things we also think before we go to sleep, how can we change something tomorrow to be more customer-centric? But in the end, quotes and opinions are nice, but they don't actually help us tell us actually how to do that. They maybe shape our thoughts, but we don't know what are the practical things we can do today in order to become a customer-centric company. And I'm actually going to do that today. I'm going to share some stories and strategies that we have picked up throughout our careers and that we have in some way adapted or molded inside Tenderly. And these are strategies that we use today. And the goal for me today is that you leave this room feeling at least a little bit inspired to change something in your company or how you approach your customers, or even implement some of these strategies. So I wanted to start things off with asking a simple question to everybody, but as this presentation is about customers and being customer-centric, I found that this sentence just doesn't do it. So I changed it a bit. And the real question that I want to ask you is, how do your customers interact with you? How many times do you ask yourselves, what's the experience of the customers when they are interacting with you, whether it be support at a conference or even watching you live somewhere? And this is the question that I want to be in your head while we're going through this presentation, as this embodies everything that I'm going to talk about. And we're going to look at it from our first situation. And that's actually, we're going to imagine we're a software product company. We just released a new product. You know, we've spent a couple of months doing it, and you know, we're extremely happy. We just released it, and this is what happens. I'm going to go from the customer perspective to the company and back to the customer. So I'm a customer. I open the app and I say, oh, it's a new product. It just got updated. I want to try my new feature. Let me just try that. Something stopped working. Why it doesn't work? It must be me. Let me try again. I try again. It doesn't work still. I can try again. It still doesn't work. I'm starting to get frustrated. After several frustrations, I decide to contact support. And there's a study that says like 1 out of 25 customers actually reach out to support. And now comes the hard part. You know, they reach out to support. Support says, thank you for reporting the error. We'll get back to you once it's fixed. And inside the company, support gets the first ticket, then support gets the 10th ticket. They recognize a pattern. They want to report it to the PM. The PM gets pushed back on support because it's his feature. You know, he says his feature kicks ass. There's no way. Then support gets 20 more tickets. They get frustrated again. They go back to the PM. Then the PM is not happy. He wants to see the data by himself. Know that it's not working. Then he actually sees the data, he recognizes a pattern, see a pattern, then he brings it up into Scrum Daily with all the other PMs. Then the PMs say it's good, it's a green light, he gets approval to fix this, now he needs to prioritize with all of the other important things. Then it goes to the engineering backlog. After it goes to the engineering backlog, then the engineering pushes back because they just did this 2 weeks ago, why the fuck are we doing it again? Then it's the vicious battle between PMs and engineering. It's a vicious battle. And then we have to go after the battle. Then it goes actually into the backlog. The engineers fix it. Then the engineers let the PMs know. The PMs let the support know. And then support goes back to the support, to all of the customers. And we all hear, you know, the SpongeBob meme here, 2 minutes later. And, you know, the customer's like, oh, thanks for letting me know. But in himself, he's thinking like, I don't use this feature anymore because it hasn't been working for 2 months. And of course, this is a very exaggerated scenario. If you recognize all of the patterns, please leave the room and go fix something. But the main question here is, how do our customers feel? I mean, how did you feel listening to me talk for a whole minute about this whole process? I mean, it's horrible. But you know what's the problem here? It scales. It works very well. I mean, let's go back to it. You know, you can apply this to any industry, any business, any product, and it works. It scales. It works at 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. It just works, and it's easy. And then people, you know, sort back to some sort of this way. And getting to the practical strategies, what we did, we decided to make it different in Tenderly. This is how it looks like in Tenderly. So we're going to assume the whole story of the customer being frustrated and then calling us, but that support ticket goes to everybody. Everybody can see it. If you're in engineering, if you're in product support, founders, marketing, sales, everybody, they have access to that support. And it's essentially first come, first serve who gets to answer it. And we truly believe that, you know, by exposing everybody, we are skipping a lot of the steps we saw before. You know, it's not that everybody has to first see the problem and then feel the problem. This way, everybody is feeling the problem at once. I think that's a big part that's overlooked today, is that we feel, you know, the problems our customers are facing. It's not just an issue in Jira or Linear. It's, you know, it's our customers that we are building for. And, you know, how often do we actually feel the problems, not just understand them? And this is a way we were able to achieve this. And, you know, how do we do that in a more general way is we expose our employees directly to customers, and always. So we have a lot of mechanisms, and they keep evolving over time. But the fundamental is, we are trying to expose employees to customers directly, and that's by, giving them access to support tickets, feedbacks, sales and product calls, Twitter mentions in a public Slack channel where the bigger part of the company is. And one also very practical thing we did is, when you think of support, you always have some, prejudice where you think like, oh, I'm gonna get, support level 1, support level 2, maybe I'm gonna get technical support. But what we did is we exposed product and engineers, the people who are actually building the product, to be the support. And they're actually doing the tickets alongside. We also have a support team, but they're in the trenches with them. And to demonstrate this and not just be something I put on this presentation, this is an example of something that happened on Twitter, where a customer reported that he had an issue, and he was amazed that he received a reply within an hour. And in this email, you can see it's actually Alexander, who's one of the engineers, replied directly to the customer and said, hey, I found a bug. It's in one of our front-end code. I'll create a pull request and it'll be live within hours. And look at the timestamp. It's 9:57 a.m. And what followed was this. It's 9:52 now a.m., just less than an hour later, and it's fixed and live. So this is how we practically implemented the, you break it, you fix it mentality. Engineers are directly exposed to the customers. And why this also matters is not just because we're optimizing the flow of the customers. So obviously we're doing that, but we're also achieving one very important thing, and that is that the people that are building the product, they actually understand and feel what their work is how it's impacting people. And that's a very powerful motivator. The next situation I want to go through is, it's called these big money black holes. We all know of them. But conferences, we know that when we go to conferences, it's where we meet our customers. So it's important part of building a company, that we actually talk to the customers, meet them. We know that we can build our brand there, especially if we have a booth. We can be a speaker, build thought leadership, etc., etc. And that's nice, but in the end, like I said, it's a money black hole, so it consumes a lot of money. And then in the end, it boils down to what's the return on investment when going to conferences. Even the legendary Y Combinator, they say to people, don't waste your time on conferences. Go to the places where you actually create value. And it puts a lot of pressure, and I mean, from time to time they are right. So we then have to justify the return on investment. And in order to justify that, what happens is this. We need to build up, we're going to a conference, so we're decided, and we have to build up a roster. And, this is what the roster looks like. What do you see? Biz, marketing, sales, biz. And I'm gonna go back to the question I asked earlier, how would our customer feel interacting with this roster? I mean, what will the customer think of a company with this roster? And I mean, you can say that, the sales will probably go chase deals. That's good. That's a return on investment. The marketing person will be in charge of the brand, so we'll have a brand. That's good. And the business developers, they'll make the partnership. So we're trying to maximize a return on investment that's still vague. We'll never achieve that. And we decided to fundamentally challenge that one. Since a previous company which learned us actually that going to conferences is a good thing, we decided to attend a lot of these conferences. Maybe the numbers of which are not even justifiable now, but the important thing was we were building something, we were going to our customers, and again, going back to the previous situation, we felt the impact of our work. And our roster actually looks something like this. We obviously also have a business developer going, but besides that, we're not going to sell just this roster. We're going to send the software engineers that are building the product managers, the people that are writing content, the people that are designing it. Again, with the main goal of our employees interacting with the customers. And one very dear story to me is 2 years ago, actually one of our first employees, she was nominated to go to a conference, and she didn't want to go. She said, it's why would I go? What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna sell anything there. It's better if I just stay for a whole week and work on this new product we're building. And eventually I talked to her and she went. And when we were returning back, she told me that this was the second best thing that happened to her while she was in Tenderly. The first was being hired, but why was this the second best? And that was because she felt the impact of her work. It was small gestures where we had a booth, and she was talking with a lot of customers. Some of the customers just went by and gave a high five, said "you rock," and that's it, nothing else. Then there were the customers where they actually went through some of the features they developed, and they had a personal conversation about something they built with the customers, or even had conversations with customers where they had a bug which didn't work. And in some cases, we even fixed those bugs live on the spot, which is immensely powerful for all of the things that we just mentioned before. But more importantly, it's important for the people that are building the product. And this is also one of the tweet testimonials to this is, a customer that had a problem, they reached out to us and we helped them in real life or, in person. And what's also beneficial to this is with these kind of relations where it's not just the sales and business developer, but it's actual people building the product, you start to form special relationships with your customers. Not just the ones where you have like, oh, it's end of quarter, do we want to renew your plan? Or, how do you want to increase your usage so you can pay more? But it's actually more personal relationships with the customer, which in the end enable us to have deep insights into what are the customer needs. And one very dear also point of time for me is when I cut a bit of the picture, but when one of our customers that we have a personal relationship, he emailed us when he got a son in a Tenderly t-shirt. I mean, it's a small symbol, but it demonstrates the type of connections we make when going to these conferences, when we expose people to the customers directly. And this is just one of many situations. We at one point, I don't know, Bogdan, who's sitting here in the first rows, at one point, and this was like 2 years ago, had 150 direct channels with customers. Imagine talking with that many people on a regular basis. And that's immensely powerful. And it also helped us scale to this size, because we often say that 50% of our product was built by the customers, by the customer feedback. And the way we were able to get that feedback was by having these special relationships. And I don't know how I'm on time, but this is a question I want to leave everybody in this room with. After hearing these 2 stories is, do you feel that people inside your company are exposed to customers enough? Is there something that we can do more? So yes, that's the main thing I want to leave this room. And before and this is kind of a big cut. But before you leave this room for the next talk, I wanted to do just one quick announcement. Through an initiative of ours called Garaja, we have released a new project which is called Open Source Documentation. And essentially what that is, it's free, open source, publicly available legal documents for Serbian startups. So these are documents that are ready to use, employee-employer friendly, due diligence friendly, and you can just go to this link, download a copy, make a copy, and use it inside your company. And this was done with the work of Aleksandar Begović from the center and Ilija Rilaković, who are in the room. Thank you very much. So we also have a booth outside, and if you want to meet us and talk about anything specific, please join us. Thank you.